What's up guys, Brandon here from Barking Mad, and I've wanted to make this video for quite a while. There's going to be a post about it as well. I'm going to discuss the rules that you should have in place when both children and dogs are in the same vicinity. So I think the first thing that's really important to remember is that there's a different communication that we have compared to dogs have. So dogs communicate more through their energy and their body language. They're less verbal. You don't hear them barking at each other all the time. We talk to each other. That's the way that we communicate. So when we get stuck and we try to communicate to the dog the way that we do, we fail sort of in the beginning. So it's important to remember that. So the reason I say that is that I often get told stories, or I get phone calls from people that just have said, out of nowhere, my dog just bit XYZ. Could be their child, it could be a friend, it could be, someone, a stranger at a park. Or it could be said for biting another dog, that it just came out of nowhere. So that's where it's important to remember that nothing just comes out of nowhere for them. They'll be communicating through their body language. They'll be communicating from quite a distance away, saying, "Don't approach me." It's when we don't recognize those signals and we go forward, especially head on. So some dogs are very timid, and if you walk at them with a pace, or kids run at them straight on, it's very intimidating for them. So they're gonna react. You're gonna hope they're gonna run away, but sometimes they're cornered, and it's not their fault, and they just act out of instinct. So it's important to teach the children to. I know it's hard because you're I guess dealing with children who also have selective hearing, as some of you people say that your dogs have. So if there's going to be a situation that's too intense, just don't have the children and the dog in the same place if you're not going to keep your eyes on it. Christmas, birthdays, all those sorts of family events, the dog sort of just gets forgotten about. So you do have to teach your kids that they can't run and scream around the dog in the dog's personal space. That the dog can be in the same vicinity and off to the side on their bed or in a crate or something like that, so they're comfortable. That's for the dog. It's not to keep them caged so they don't attack someone else. It's so someone else doesn't approach them and make them react. So we think that a growl or a snarl or something like that is the first point of communication before they bite, and it's just not. So teach your children never to approach dogs that are on their own or without an owner, and obviously if they do have an owner, to ask before they touch the dog. So it's very important to remember. I guess petting the dog. So if you're teaching your children to pat under the chin or on the chest, just so they get in the habit of not putting their heads over dogs' heads, because that's intimidating for them. That brings me on to, I guess, the second rule, which is no hugging. So it's very cute for us humans to see photos on Instagram and share them with our families of let's say a really big dog, and it's so docile and all the kids are hugging it and stuff like that. Some dogs you can get away with it, and probably nothing's going to happen, but dogs don't hug each other. That's a human thing. So if you think about when dogs let's say they're fighting, or they could be play fighting, which is just pretending. So, you know, they're two, they're so, look, I didn't even pretend to make the bed this video. So they're, you know, they're jumping up and, you know, facing each other that way, and they are all that sort of behavior. So that looks like hugging. So when your child runs up and hugs a dog, the dog is thinking basically, this dog's come to dominate me. So to them, it's their instinct, they have to react. Some dogs will just run away, some dogs will bite. And unfortunately, they're the ones that pay because we didn't do the right thing. So the third point is just not to leave your children and dogs unattended, alone. I know it's common sense, but again, a lot of stories I hear and a lot of phone calls that I get on a weekly basis, and it's pretty frustrating actually. They call me and ask for advice, and then they call me back a week later saying their dog bit their child. And, you know, it's just heartbreaking really. So leaving them unattended, so if you think dogs, okay, this is where they communicate. So they have a hierarchy. In whatever space they're in, there's a top dog, you know, there's people waiting to take their place. Everyone has a natural place, and that's what dogs are trying to figure out all the time. That's why, you know, that's them being social. So let's say you can control your dog, that's great. You leave the backyard with the kids and the dog alone, who's making the decisions then? You don't know. So again, that's sort of your responsibility. And yeah, I just think we just need to take more responsibility. They're dogs. They're not humans. They're, you know, we get in trouble when we treat them, I guess, with think about it as disrespect. Think about if I just started treating you like a giraffe. I just, like, you know, every day just came with a bucket of grass and say, here, eat this. Like, you'd find that disrespectful. And I knew you were a human, but I treated you like a giraffe. I know it's a funny analogy, but just think about it for a minute. We have to respect the way that you know, they communicate, so we can understand them more, and then we don't come into those situations. So if you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends and family, or someone who just needs to see this, because yeah, literally it saves their lives. So thank you.